It's never been more important for businesses to be on top of stories and storytelling. There was a time when they could pretty much manage the information that was happening between staff and the information that was being swapped between customers. That is not the case now. And if we're talking about ways of getting information across, stories are the most successful way of transferring information in the world ever. And why is that? It's because they are effortless to consume. I'm not just telling you this because I'm a story coach. They are effortless to consume and we enjoy telling them. And so when a story is put out there, it travels. You don't need to pay for that, it just goes. Building your company story, you start by listening to the stories that are happening with your staff and the stories that are happening with your customers. And that starts to get you feeling what sort of company you are and what sort of company you want to be. Now, how do you tell these stories? I'd like to push it a little bit further than just gathering anecdotes. If you actually understand the way a story works, you start to understand what audiences are looking for and what they need to hear. And that will help you ask the right questions when you're gathering the stories. Stories answer unspoken questions on people's minds. They can also pose questions on people's minds. But it's a good thing to start by knowing what are the questions on your audience's mind. So if you're planning any sort of digital communication, you firstly need to know who is your audience. You secondly need to know what are they worried about, what are they excited about, and then only then can you start to think, what are the stories that I can build to communicate with this audience? I think stories are pretty amazing. They can travel faster than light. Everybody knows that. They've seen one of those emails start in one office somewhere and they're in every office in the country by the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying every company story is going to go that far, but you can see that they have their own energy and their own trajectory once they are the right story for the right audience. We're not trying to shock anybody, we're not trying to frighten anybody, but we do need to find the stories that answer the questions on people's minds. Some of those questions are, why would we want to deal with this company? Does this company care about me? Do I want to be part of this company? They're very simple questions, but once you've got them down, that's when you start to target your story in a way that people will listen. Rather than worrying about telling good news stories, think about telling the right stories. And people don't always want to hear the good news because they know what life's like. You know, it's more complex than that. So the stories we're looking for in companies are ones that express about belonging, about where you fit in the wider picture, and where that company is going and how it's going to take you with them.